Hey guys, welcome to another episode of The Completionist. For this episode, I'm doing a tag response to Kevin, aka TheMegaManCave, for his 200 subscriber special. Now, what Kevin decided to do for his 200 subscriber special is that he proposed a question to a specific number of YouTubers, and that question was, what is the worst gaming purchase you ever made in which you paid full price for that game? Now, with regards to that question, I had to think long and hard about it because I consider myself a very patient gamer, and especially throughout my childhood, I never really felt disappointed by any game that I bought. As a child, I could only ever own 2 video games per year, one for Christmas and one for my birthday. Now, thankfully, during that time, I used to have a subscription to Nintendo Power, and so I pretty much did my research before I decided which game I wanted to buy. And I felt pretty grateful throughout my childhood and my teenage years that out of all the games I've ever bought, I never regretted any of those purchases at all. Now, with regards to gaming right now, as I said before, I consider myself a very patient gamer. You constantly hear a lot of gamers constantly bitch, whine, and moan about a lot of negative things regarding several different types of games, but like some of the complaints that these people make, they don't really annoy me as much as what it does other people. Like some of the most common complaints I hear are the game has long loading times, doesn't bother me. The cutscenes in the game are long, doesn't bother me. The controls are poor, yeah, I could work with it. And the stories are simple or they're full of cliches. The majority of the games I play are JRPGs. They are so full of cliches, but to be honest, it doesn't really bother me. But that doesn't truly make me an invincible gamer. And I did have to think long and hard, but there is one game that I consider my worst gaming disappointment in which I actually paid full price for that game. Now, if you watched any of my earlier videos, you know my favorite game of all time is Xenogears. I doubt that will ever change. I think Xenogears will be my favorite game of all time, and I don't think any other game will ever beat it. Now, back in 2003, a game got released called Xenosaga for the PS2, and obviously I was incredibly excited about it, even though I knew at the time that Xenosaga was not necessarily related to Xenogears in any way. It was kind of a spiritual successor to Xenogears, even though they put the scatter Easter egg to try to show the similarities between the two. Now, when Xenosaga got released in 2003, I absolutely loved everything about this game. This game actually had a lot of similarities to Xenogears. A lot of the production team behind Xenogears were behind Xenosaga Episode 1. Yasunori Mitsuda, who did the music for Xenogears, did the music for Xenosaga Episode 1. The main vocalist for the final song in Xenogears, by the name of Joanne Hogg, she was the vocalist for the final song in Xenosaga Episode 1. And there were a lot of other similarities as well, but there were just a lot of things that I loved about this game. I thought the original Xenosaga had a great battle system. It had some of the best English voice acting I've ever heard in a video game. I fell in love with a lot of the characters, and I just found it a very well-rounded game. Now, one of the more common complaints people had about Xenosaga was that it had incredibly long cutscenes, but to be honest, it didn't really bother me. I thought the gameplay was solid, the minigames were great, and surprisingly, I actually never completed that game. I missed one or two things, so I have to go back and complete it. Now, with the success of Xenosaga Episode 1, Xenosaga was supposed to be initially a 5-part series. So obviously I was very excited when Xenosaga Episode 2 got announced to be released in North America in 2005. And I thought, well, Xenosaga 1 was so great, if it's not broke, don't fix it. I thought Xenosaga 2 was going to be as great or even better. So I ended up pre-ordering the game, And when it came out in the winter of 2005, I bought it for about $65–70 because I truly felt that this game was going to be as great as the original. And to be honest, I've never felt so disappointed in my entire life. They took everything that was great about the first one and they pretty much ruined it in the second one. I had a hard time really trying to push myself to actually beat this game. I never completed it. I almost completed it. I got a few other things to do, but everything in this game just felt like a total chore. Like, some of the things that I was totally disappointed in this game is that they changed the majority of the English voice cast. I was very disappointed in that. I absolutely love the English voice for Chaos, and just the new voice actors just didn't sound the same. They changed the music composer and of the game as well. Yoshinori Mitsuda did not do the second one. And it's just, everything in the game just felt so slow and sluggish. But my major complaint about the game is that it literally had one of the worst battle systems I have ever played in my entire life. It has something called the armor break battle system, in which when you go into a battle, you fight enemies, but in order to do a lot of damage to the enemy, every enemy has a type of armor in which you have to input certain commands for certain attacks from the character to break the enemy's armor. And once you do that, you can actually start dealing some major damage to the enemies. But with every new enemy that you faced, you had to try to figure out the pattern in order to break the enemy's armor, and it just felt like such a chore. And you had to do it for every new enemy. Now, it was great if you fought one enemy and you determined what the armor break command was, and if you fought that same enemy again, then you know the pattern, then you could just simply input. But you had to do it for every new enemy that you did, and you also even had to do it for bosses. And it just made the game so irritating. But any game that I pick up, I'm going to beat. I don't think that there has been any game in which I have picked up and I just dropped it just because I've lost interest in it whatsoever. So now when Xenosaga Episode 3 got released, they actually addressed a lot of the problems that Xenosaga Episode 2 had. And it turned out to be a pretty good game, but still it never lived up to how great the first one was. Now, I haven't completed Xenosaga Episode 3 yet, but it is on my to-do list as well with a lot of other games. So anyway, Kevin, I hope that answers your question. So guys, while I'm still here, I just wanted to provide a little update regarding my 100 subscribers special. The game that had the most votes was Final Fantasy Mystic Quest. So I'm in the process of finishing this game right now. I'm not very far into it. I've actually been pretty busy this week, so I hope to have this finished hopefully within the next 7 to 10 days, and I'll have a review for it then. But there are a couple of other games that I do have game footage for, so I'll be doing some how to complete videos on those, so I hope you guys enjoy them. So anyway guys, that takes care of another episode of The Completionist. So to Kevin, congrats on 200 subscribers, and I hope you get many more. So I hope you had a great weekend, my friend, and to everybody else, take care, and I wish you nothing but the best.